Last week, I flew down to Orlando, Florida to visit the EA studio where College Football 26 is being developed. I spent the day sitting through a series of deep dive presentations from EA dev teams covering everything from gameplay updates, presentation, Dynasty Mode, Road to Glory, Ultimate Team, Road to the College Football Playoffs, and much more. And after all that, we got a controller in hand and played CFB 26 for a few hours. And for full transparency, this wasn't a finished version of the game. We were working with an early build and could only test out Play Now. But even with those limitations, I walked away with a ton of impressions that I'm going to share with you. So in this video, I'll break it all down, from gameplay mechanics and AI improvements to presentation, atmosphere, and what has me the most excited moving forward. EA brought us inside the studio and kicked off the day with several hours of presentations from the developers behind every major area of the game. What I appreciated most was that this wasn't a sales pitch. They weren't trying to overhype things or tell us this is the greatest football game ever. Instead, they walked us through their design philosophy, what's new, what's improved, and most importantly, why they made certain decisions. What I found most refreshing was the fact that they were really transparent the entire time. They told us not everything us fans want is going to make it into the game this year, but they also made it really clear they're listening. They actively go through YouTube comments and social posts to gather feedback from the community, so I believe it's really important to continue to post that feedback in a constructive manner in order for them to continue to improve the game year over year. Moving on to my actual experience playing the game, as I mentioned earlier, we got hands-on access with Play Now. Even though it was an early build, there was already so much to unpack. Let's start with a massive playbook expansion. Right away, I noticed the playbooks are even bigger than last year. Each team feels different. There are literally hundreds of new plays and formations. It's honestly going to be hard choosing a playbook this year because the variety is just that good. You might find yourself scouting teams just to find the scheme that fits your playstyle. After spending some time in Play Now, I went ahead and looked through the Buckeyes playbook and found some really nice plays I'm excited to use. Overall, I think this is a good problem to have for us football nerds. More variety and options, the better. Dynamic substitution system is a new addition to CFB 26, and even though it might seem pretty uneventful, it's definitely one of my favorite additions to the game this year. There's a new dynamic substitution menu that you can access without pausing the game. Just tap up on the D-pad and you'll get a mini overlay in the bottom left corner showing who's on the field, who's injured, who's fatigued, and you can swap them out right there. Once you make a change, the sub happens on the very next play, assuming the opponent isn't running a hurry-up offense. It's clean, fast, and adds a layer of real-time decision-making. On that note, there are also a bunch of real coaches in the game, and their coach model looks really good. Just look at this screenshot of Ryan Day running out the Ohio State Buckeyes. You can easily tell it's Coach Day, but just to give you a heads up, not every coach is in the game, so be mindful of that. They also add their distinctive playstyles, and combining that with dynamic substitution system, it really feels like an authentic coaching experience. With all that being said, they've taken the wear and tear system from last year and seriously upgraded it. This year, the wear and tear system delivers more realism, so you can't just use the same player or spam the same plays over and over again because it will come back to bite you. And that's where dynamic subs come in. You'll actually use them this year, not just to get fresh legs, but to protect your stars. One of the biggest gameplay upgrades I noticed was how smart the AI quarterbacks have become. I faced off against Bryce Underwood from Michigan on Heisman difficulty, and I watched him adjust to pressure, roll out when necessary, and even recognize matchups. It felt like he knew what was happening on the field. And I want to make this very clear, it wasn't like CFB 25 where it seemed like some quarterbacks had superhuman abilities. In CFB 26, it felt like the quarterbacks continuously adjusted throughout the game. Lower rated QBs on the other hand made way more mistakes. Feels like this year the emphasis was to make QB ratings really matter for gameplay. Oh, and here's a cool twist as well. QB height actually matters a bit more now. So shorter QBs have a tougher time seeing the field over the O-line, which affects timing and vision, whereas taller QBs have an easier time seeing the field over the O-line. Let's talk defense, because that's where the game feels way more balanced this year. DBs no longer have superhuman awareness. They have to turn their heads before making a play on the ball. I think in previous football games, the one-on-one battles always went in the DB's favor over the receiver. This year is definitely adjusted to where the DB has to turn his head before making a play. It felt like last year we had so many more tools at our disposal on offense, which made playing defense a struggle. But this year, they have implemented a few new tools that we can use. For example, the addition of custom zone feature makes scheming a whole lot better. Custom zones give you control to tweak your zone coverage on the fly, similar to how offense had route stems last year. So instead of actually setting your zone drops in the menu, you can do it in game, which gives you a lot more control. I feel like this is a really big addition to defense this year. Continuing with the defensive features, CFB 26 is bringing back stunts and twists. You can access them from the play calling menu with a simple button hold and stack them with block steering to confuse the linemen. I'm definitely not a defensive line user for the most part, but I did try a bunch of different blitzes using the stunts and twists. I did have a lot of fun trying to confuse the opposing QBs and offensive linemen. The new physics-based tackling system actually feels natural. I didn't notice any weird animations or janky hits. It just works from what I experienced in my limited time on the game. When they first mentioned this, I was a bit worried since they added boom tech to Madden last year, and the tackling just didn't feel right. But when I loaded up a game of CFB 26, I made it a point to test out some of the tackling, and it did feel pretty good. Like I said earlier, I didn't really notice any weird hits with the new physics-based tackling in my time with the game. Oh, and I didn't see a single offensive lineman blow an assignment. Blocking logic looks solid. A few things that really stood out to me during the presentations this year were each school's tradition has gotten a significant upgrade. There are a ton of school traditions that were added to CFB 26, like Virginia Tech's walkout to Enter the Sandman by Metallica. Adding on to this, there are much more variation of each school's intro, so it doesn't seem like you're watching the same thing over and over and over again. In-game, there are more overlays and dynamic stat graphics, a brand new scorebook that's clean and modern, detailed player comparisons, and team trends throughout the game. It all comes together to feel like you're watching an actual broadcast of college football. The lighting in-game this year is really cool. With them bringing in dynamic lighting, it really brings a new level to immersion we feel playing the game. The craziest thing about dynamic lighting is that the same game will look different depending on the time of year. Home field advantage has been cranked up. Playing in some of the toughest stadiums has also got a lot harder in my opinion. Abilities on players to counter some of these home field advantages is going to be the move for sure. The team also mentioned that where your players line up on the field actually matters. So for example, if your QB tries to shout out to his receiver that's on the other side of the field, he probably won't be able to hear him and won't make those adjustments to his route. But if you have a running back standing right next to the QB, you'll be able to hear him and adjust accordingly. And finally, let's talk a little bit about some of the game modes coming to CFB 26. We have Road to Glory, Dynasty, Ultimate Team, Road to the College Football Playoffs, and Team Builder. I can't go into specifics just yet, but from what we saw, Road to Glory is getting a ton of love this year, including 10 new archetypes and the addition of starting in high school. And just like CFB 25, you'll be able to bring your Road to Glory character over to Madden 26. Dynasty mode has new quality of life upgrades that make recruiting, scouting, and day-to-day management much smoother. The Dynasty team heard your feedback, so Dynasty mode will be cross-platform in CFB 26. As for Ultimate Team, we still don't have a lot of info yet, but the news will be coming very soon. Road to the College Football Playoffs also has some changes coming. Home field advantage will be implemented into the game. I personally don't really like the addition since home field advantage and stadium pulse is really tough to play in, but until we see it in action, I'll keep an open mind. And lastly, Team Builder is back for CFB 26, and from what we know, it's going to be a lot better than last year. You'll be able to use Team Builder in offline play now and private dynasty modes. I'll be doing more deep dives on these as EA releases more info, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss those videos. To close it out, gameplay is smarter, defense is deeper, and the presentation and atmosphere are unmatched. If you're a longtime college fan like myself, there's a lot to be excited about. Let me know in the comments what you're most excited for. Is it Road to Glory, Dynasty, just seeing your favorite team back in a video game? Drop a like if this gave you any new info. And make sure you're subscribed. I'll be covering much more in future videos.